This whole series of talks about the Sermon on the Mount is called Inside Out because the idea is every time Jesus says something that turns everything upside down. It's look at it another way. It's a complete reversal of what people were expecting then and maybe what people are expecting now. That's the secret. That's why it's special. Here's the reversal. Here's the switcheroo, the Kaiser Soze moment with all of this. Jesus is basically saying, it's okay to make a vow to somebody else. It's okay to say, here is all the love in my heart, and I stand by that. I mean what I say. That's okay. The problem is when we make a promise on God's behalf. In other words, I am going to make a vow for God, and God, I know you're going to do A, B, and C off of my list. Think about the vows that people make. A lot of times it's like a deal. God, I'm going to do these things, and you're going to do this for me. Does God work that way? This is important because there's a lot of people that say, if I just learn all of the laws of attraction. Now look, I love that idea too, but it's easy to read half of the book, you know what I mean? It's easy to go, I love all of this and I'm going to do the laws of attraction. I'm going to attract exactly what I want. Well, isn't that like telling God what's best? Now look, there's nothing wrong with wanting certain things. There's nothing wrong with all of that, but it's also not very interesting. If I want my breakthrough, if I want my new answer, my revolution, my new paradigm shift, I don't need more of my stuff. So many times people pray for more of the same. God, can I just have more me but bigger? Can I have a nicer car? I already know about cars. No surprises. Can you bring me just a better looking partner? Can I lose a couple of pounds? The kind of thing that people pray about is often, can I just have more of me? When prayer has to do with understanding that God knows better than I do. The magic happens when we stop dictating to God what God needs to do and we start listening. Once again, what can I do for you? Watch what happens. Because here's the thing. If you have a theory about how the world works, you're going to live up to your theory. You're going to find evidence to support your hypothesis. If you decide that people who wear blue shoes are not to be trusted, gosh, I hope nobody's got blue shoes on in the room. It's just an example. Don't get worried. But you know what I mean? If you decide something like that, before too long, you'll see people on the news. Oh, see, blue shoes. I told you. Now, that's a silly example, but it takes about 2 seconds of thinking to know that there's a lot of ways to look at that. You can decide that certain people are no good, that answers can only come from certain directions, that there's certain things. If you make a theory about how the world works, you will find evidence to support your hypothesis over and over again. And the problem with that is there's no room for surprises, for breakthroughs, for growth. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. You've heard that one before. So let me give you a new one. You ready? Thou shalt not name the band. Now stick with me here. Just remember that I said that. Thou shalt not name the band. Here's what I mean by that. I don't know if you had this experience, but I had it a lot when I was a kid where I would learn like half of a blues scale and decide that I had all it took to be in a band. When I was in like 4th grade, I was in a Loverboy cover band. And none of us could play any music, but that didn't matter because we had a cool name for the band. Yeah, don't get me started, Loverboy. Don't judge. Mike Reno was cool back in the day. Anyway, we had a cool name, and that's all we needed. How many times do teenagers get together and name the band without anything to back that up? Over and over again. When I name a thing, before I let it tell me what its name is, I have limited it. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times when Jenny and I are dreaming together, when we get with our friends and we're trying to figure something out, a new idea, a new church, a new whatever it is, and somebody will come up with a limiting notion. This is the thing. And hopefully one or the other of us will go, are you naming the band right now? In other words, are you putting it in a cubby hole and it can't grow out of that? Don't tell it what it needs to be. Let it tell you. Apply that lesson to love. Apply that lesson to your career ideas. Apply that lesson to friendship, to what life is supposed to look like. Stop praying for what you already know and start praying for something from an unknown place. That's the secret. How do I know if it's God talking? Well, does it sound like more of what you already know? Then it's probably ego. Does it sound like something completely unknown and surprising and maybe scary? Then you're being called. get there. And you get there by telling the truth. Well, okay, so I'm not allowed to make plans. How do I know? How do I measure success? Well, you'll know it when you see it. And how do I know it when I see it? Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. No more big stuff. Just let your yes be yes and your no be no. Practice what you say no to. Don't participate in stuff that's hurtful anymore. You know what I'm talking about. Say no to what needs to be said no to. Is that love? Is that truthful? Is that honest? Is that noble? Does that help somebody? If it doesn't, quit doing it. Quit giving your money to it. Quit giving your time to it, that treasure of your attention. Learn how to say no. And learn how to say yes to what works, to what resonates with your heart. Learn how to say yes with whatever little piece of that dream that you can vision. Learn how to say yes, and not just yes with your words, but daylight savings time level. I'm going to say yes with my actions. I'm going to show up on time based on the time that I've agreed to. Carry your yes into celebration. And then you don't need a fancy oath. You're the oath. Making some big deal is like making a deal with gravity. Gravity does what it does. It's like making a deal with thunder. Lightning precedes it. It's going to happen. You don't need to do anything about it. Just show up. Be like that. There is a part of you that is as certain as the sunrise. And it's been calling you all along. All you've got to do is tell the truth and tell it quickly, and everything else will work out. Let it go. Set it free. Because, after all, freedom is a choice.